Welcome to part 3 of the course, How to Turn Your Photographs or Your Snapshots into Photographs. In this section we're going to talk about the rule of thirds, which is a classic vignette for anybody in the art field. So how to place your objects, and consider the rule of thirds. So the subject is the main focus of your image. What is this picture all about? The goal is to encourage the viewer's eye to move about the picture, to make it dynamic, not static. So here's some strategies. Number one, keep the main subject off center, generally out of the middle third of the image, and I'll show you that in a minute. Or number two, keep the horizon out of the center of the image. I'll show you this as well. So you must remember this is a guide, not a rule. But interesting, if you watch television and watch people being interviewed, even somebody's just head and shoulders being videotaped, very often you'll notice that the head and shoulders are placed to one side or the other side of the screen. Rarely is it dead center, just left there. Anyway, you take a look and see. So here's a picture, and I want you to look at it for a minute and just watch where your eye goes when it looks at that picture. Is it static or is it active? Probably goes to the red barn, and then the red barn you probably are enticed to go to the grass, which seems to be blowing in the wind to the right, and maybe go back to the barn, maybe up to the sky and back to the grass. Hopefully that's what happens to your eye. So here's the rule of thirds. When you look through your camera lens, divide the frame into 3 components, both sideways and vertically, horizontally and vertically, like we have here. Then do your best to keep the main focus of the subject out of the center part. You notice the barn's placed above it. The reason why that is, if you place the subject right in the middle, it's like a target. The eye goes there and gets stuck there. When you place it off center, the eye is invited to look around the picture for various reasons, depending on how the picture is shot. So the number 2 is, this is where the horizon line is. In the middle of the screen. Notice where it is on this particular image. It's way up here. So again, you see, if you look at the rule of thirds, and if we keep a horizon out of the middle, either up top or down below, again, it creates a much more dynamic image, inviting the eye to move around the picture. Now, if you're taking a picture of like a really tight shot like this seal, what do? Well, you could put the picture of the seal's head dead center, which means on the right-hand side you'll have a lot of water showing. What I've done is I've just pushed it a little bit off to the right-hand side. So here's the rule of thirds. You'll see that it's kind of near the middle, but really the eyes and the nose are pushed off and making it what you call an off-balance picture. The actual focus of the center of that image of the little seal's face is right over there. But the rule of thirds says, hey, get it out of the center and create a dynamic look to it. So what we want you to do is, before you shoot, move your camera around, point it up, point it down, left, right, and push the main focus out of the center. You might try it both ways. First of all, take a picture with the subject dead center, and then try a few with it pushed off into the right or left or up or down, and then print them and take a look, or show it to a friend and say, which picture looks most interesting to you? So that's the rule of thirds. I'll give you one more example. Watch how your eye moves around this particular image. Probably goes to the lock, and then it gets enticed by the chain to go way over to the top right, and then probably around to the wood, top, then back down to the lock. There's actually 3 elements here. You got the lock, you got the chain, and you got the wood door, which is, and 3s are a nice combination of pieces of information to include into a frame, because it creates that nice little triangle look. So if we take a look at the rule of thirds, the dead center is where the chain goes through. The lock itself is off into the left, and it ends up way over in the right. Again, from my point of view, and probably most artists' point of view, to create a fairly dynamic eye. Now, most cameras have a little aid. If you take a look at your menu, you see the little lines on this particular screen? Actually, the top line's a little bit higher. But what that does, it gives you 2 things. First of all, it tells you whether your picture is horizontal or not. You can line up one of those lines with the water horizon. You can see if you tilt it to the left or to the right. It's just a little visual aid there. But it also invites you to say, oh, there's the center of my picture. How can I keep the people away from that? It just is a reminder of where the rule of thirds is and how you might choose to apply it. So what I want you to do is practice. Pick one subject, preferably a simple one like a person. Take a variety of pictures from different points of view, placing the subject in different parts of the frame, and just experiment. Have fun. Look at them on a computer screen or on printed, and figure ones you find most interesting. Pick the ones you find most interesting, or better still, give them to a friend to look at so they can decide. And if you're actually in my class, of course, I'm inviting you to bring them back next week and on a flash drive, and we'll show them on the screen and let other people think or decide what they think they looks like. But remember, it's only a guide. I want you to look at this particular image. The title of the picture is Victor is Leaving Us. This is a picture of my dear friend who's got dementia. And it's intended to be a picture of him in the context of his home, sitting on his couch with the space beside him empty. That's where he always is, with no one beside him there. Not that he's not loved, because he is terribly, but that's just what he does. Behind him will be a little lamp where he reads the New York Times, and behind him in the background, on the right-hand side, is the old dinner table. So see how this works. Now, if we apply the rule of thirds, you got his head and cane right in the middle. But from my point of view, from what I'm trying to shoot here, that's absolutely fine, because there's other information in the picture, contextual information, that gets the eye moving around. And to me, that picture works. So take it all with a grain of salt, but the point is experiment and then decide afterwards, yeah, I think Snelgrove's wrong here, or gee, this really works here. So have a good time with it, and those in my class, I'll see you next week. Bye.